Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for joining me. It is 6:59 where I am in Melbourne, so I am technically 1 minute early. So I will just wait another minute or two for people to join in. What I'll do, it's clicked over to 7 p.m. So my first immediate request is, can you please just give me a thumbs up or send me a comment, just so I know that people can see me and people can hear me. That would be really great. So before I get started, make sure you've got a drink, cup of tea, glass of wine, cup of coffee, whatever it is that you need. It's always a weird feeling because I know there's a bit of a delay between me talking and comments coming in. So please let me know that you can hear me and that you can see me. That would be great. It'd be nice to know that someone's actually there. So please send me a thumbs up, smiley face, say hi. It'd be great to know that someone's there. That would be fantastic. I'm based in Melbourne and it's been a little bit chilly today. Just had a big downpour of rain where I am just now, so that's good for the garden. Okay, I'm just going to wait just to make sure that people can hear me and see me just before I get into my presentation tonight. So please give me a thumbs up, let me know that you can hear me, that you can see me. I'm just checking in. Just to make sure that everything's all good, because at the moment I'm not really sure that anyone's there. So please give me a thumbs up, a smiley face, that you can see me and that you can hear me. Okay, I might get started. Hi everyone, I'm hoping people are there. I'm hoping you can send me messages. That would be great. It feels a bit weird at the moment. I'm not sure whether anyone's there and I'm not sure whether people can hear me. My name is Sharon Kilmartin and I'm so very grateful to Happiness Aid for having me here to present again tonight. I presented a couple of weeks ago. My topic then was what matters most, and tonight I'm here to present to you my version of the good bricks. So I'm a leadership coach, a mentor and a learning consultant. And as I mentioned in my presentation the other week, this session for me is around self-leadership. So regardless of whether you're in a leadership role in the workplace or not, everyone can choose to be a leader because they need to be able to lead themselves. So, sorry, I was just checking my phone. So I've watched many of the other presentations on Happiness Aid, and what I really love is that there's so much connection between the presentations. What I have been watching and what I'm going to present to you tonight, I think there's lots of connections with. So tonight I really want to first do a shout out and encourage you to hop onto the Happiness Aid website and check out the library there, because that has all the presentations that have been happening on Happiness Aid. And just check out some of the other presentations, and a few that I just want to call out, and I don't do this, hopefully I'm not offending anyone by doing this, but I really want to highlight Sammy Cobb's presentation on the inner critic. That was fantastic. Sally Galvin on self-mastery, Jamie Sheridan on living with gratitude, Daryl Ash on self-care, and Michelle Powell on Nurture the Nurtured. All great presentations, and I think really align really well to what I'm going to talk with you tonight about. Okay, so I'm still not sure. I haven't really seen any comments. So please give me a shout out that you can hear me, that you can see me. And I guess I will continue. Okay, so my presentation tonight is about a story that I first heard many years ago, and it had a big impact on me then, and it still has a really positive impact on me today. And I felt it was a really relevant story to be sharing with the Happiness Aid live presentations. So my presentation is based on what I think is one of the famous Buddhist stories, titled The Two Bad Bricks. And I'm going to share with you my interpretation of that story and my learnings from that, all with the intent of, I guess, opening your eyes to the good, the strong, and the wonderful person that you are. So, the two bad bricks, this story comes from the Buddhist monk who I believe, or Buddhist teacher who I believe is based in WA, Ajahn Brahm. Hopefully I've pronounced that correctly. I actually want to read to you an extract from the story, The Two Bad Bricks, and then I'll get into what I want to talk to you about tonight. So just bear with me while I read to you. After we purchased the land for our monastery in 1983, we were broke. We were poor monks who needed buildings. We couldn't afford to employ a builder. The materials were expensive enough, so I had to learn how to build, how to prepare the foundations, lay concrete and bricks, erect the roof, put in the plumbing, the whole lot. Being a monk, I had patience and as much time as I needed. I made sure every single brick was perfect, no matter how long it took. Eventually, I completed my first brick wall and stood back to admire it. Sorry. It was only then that I noticed, oh no, I'd missed 2 bricks. All the other bricks were nicely in line, but these 2 were inclined at an angle. They looked terrible. They spoiled the whole wall. They ruined it. By then, the cement mortar was too hard for the bricks to be taken out, so I asked the abbot if I could knock the wall down and start over again, or even better, blow it up. I'd made a mess of it and I was very embarrassed. The abbot said no, the wall had to stay. When I showed our first visitors around our fledgling monastery, I always tried to avoid taking them past my brick wall. I hated anyone seeing it. Then one day, some 3 or 4 months after I finished it, I was walking with a visitor and he saw the wall. "That's a nice wall," he casually remarked. "Sir," I replied in surprise, "have you left your glasses in your car? Are you visually impaired? Can't you see those 2 bad bricks which spoil the whole wall?" What he said next changed my whole view of that wall, of myself, and of many other aspects of life. He said, Yes, I can see those 2 bad bricks, but I can also see the 998 good bricks as well. I was stunned. For the first time in over 3 months, I could see other bricks in that wall apart from the 2 mistakes. Above, below, to the left and to the right of the bad bricks were the good bricks, perfect bricks. Moreover, the perfect bricks were many, many more than the 2 bad bricks. Before my eyes would focus exclusively on my 2 mistakes, I was blind to everything else. That was why I couldn't bear looking at that wall or having others see it. That was why I wanted to destroy it. Now that I could see the good bricks, the wall didn't look so bad after all. It was, as the visitor had said, a nice brick wall. It's still there now, 20 years later, but I've forgotten exactly where those bad bricks are. I literally cannot see those mistakes anymore. So when I first came across that story many years ago, it really struck a chord with me because I naturally am a person that will see those 2 bad bricks. It wouldn't matter what I was doing. I like to cook, I like to bake, and I would want everything that I was cooking or baking to be perfect. I didn't want any bad bricks in what I was cooking. In my work, I want everything that I do to be great, to be excellent. And I would put in so much effort for that to be the case, for things to be perfect. You may already hear that one of my biggest challenges was being a perfectionist. It came up quite a bit for me. So I guess you could say, in a way, one of my bad bricks was being a perfectionist. What I want us to do and what I want to prompt us to look at tonight is for you to see the whole wall, for you to see your whole self. And just, again, it's quite weird because I can't access any comments, so I'm not quite sure. I'm sorry if you're sending me messages, I can't see them. But let's have a little bit of fun with this. And I say that because I want you to put a fresh pair of eyes on, a fresh pair of glasses, and I want you to see the whole wall, the whole self, your whole self. Now, unfortunately, I can't read with these glasses on, but I just wanted to have a bit of fun with that, okay? So some questions I'm going to ask you to consider is, how can we start to see the other 998 bricks? How do we stop ourselves automatically searching for the 2 bad bricks? And what do the other 998 bricks represent? So some of the areas that I want to talk to you about are self-talk, being strength-focused, feedback, gratitude, and success. So let's talk first up about self-talk. Self-talk is the conversation that goes on in our head. Self-talk comes from, I guess, different experiences in life, and it can happen from childhood. We experience something and we might tell ourselves in our head, you know, that was good, that was bad, I was good at that, I was bad at that. It's what we tell ourselves, and it's whether it's right or whether it's wrong, whether it's true or whether it's false, whether it's fact or whether it's fiction, it's what we tell ourselves. Our self-talk can lift us up. Equally, if left unattended, it can bring us down. So how can we manage our self-talk, and how is that going to help us with our 998 bricks? I suppose 3 things that I'll share from my perspective. First of all, I think it's really important to have the self-awareness that it's even happening. Are you aware of the self-talk that goes on in your head? And as I mentioned before, Sammy Cobb, in her presentation that she did on the inner critic, she had some really good lessons that she shared in that presentation that you may want to go and check out as well. But I think it's really important that we start to be aware of the stories that we tell ourselves in our head. I have a dog, and for those of you that have pets, you might be familiar with training your dog perhaps to leave something. You know, it might go along, might be walking down the street, and, you know, it'll be sniffing at things. And it'll sniff at something that you don't actually want to sniff out. And so we would say, or I would say, as I was walking my dog, I'd say, leave it. You know, leave it, as in leave it, go. You know, we're going to keep walking. And so for me, those two words, leave it, is something that I'll say to myself if I notice my inner self-talk is going a little bit off tangent, is, I guess, heading towards those two bad bricks. You know, I might be doing something and I'll be like, Sharon, what are you doing? You know, you're not doing that very well or whatever. And I will say to myself, leave it. Just like I would say to my dog, leave it. Let's keep moving on. Let's keep walking. So a bit of an odd strategy, but it works for me. Another way to think about your self-talk is, if we think about that brick wall, you know, oh my God, I've done such a bad job with those two bricks. You know, what was I thinking? That's terrible. But would you actually say that to a friend? If you were standing with a friend looking at that brick wall, would you actually say to your friend, what were you thinking? That looks terrible. I reckon chances are you wouldn't. Maybe, depending on what the situation was, you may, but chances are you're not going to say to a friend what you would say to yourself. So if you're not going to say it to a friend, why would you actually say it to yourself? I think it's really important to really stop and think about that. So 3 things there for how I manage my self-talk. And again, I'm not seeing your messages, so I'm really sorry if you're sending me comments. I can't actually see them. But please know I will go back to my presentation and go back through any comments that people have written to me, because I'd be really interested to know what other strategies people use for managing their self-talk. So hopefully you can see how important managing your self-talk is when you're looking at that brick wall being your whole self. Let's move on. Let's talk about being strength focused. As a leadership coach, a learning consultant, I work in the learning and development space, and something I hear quite a lot, and something I probably stop in its tracks quite quickly, is often people will go down the path of, oh yeah, I'm not very good at that, I need to get better at that. Hey Michelle, yay! I'm so excited, I've got your message. Oh, it's so good to know that someone's there. Thanks, Michelle. So yes, when talking to people about learning and development, people are very quick to tell me what they can't do, what they're not very good at. So rather than going, and then if I say to people, okay, where are your strengths? People will stumble. People will be like, oh, I'm not really sure. So what I encourage people to do is, rather than look at what we need to get better at, what we need to get stronger at, what we need to know more about, what we need to be smarter with, let's first start with what we're actually good at, what we're the best at, what we're the strongest at, what we're the smartest with. Hey, Jody, no problems. I'm so happy to have some people sending me some comments. And please, if you can, Jody, it'd be great if you could watch back to the start. So I'm talking about being strengths focused. Yes, we are definitely programmed to look at our negatives. And so that's why I love the two bad bricks story, because it is about that 998 bricks, the other 998 bricks, and why are we not seeing those? in looking at that story of the two bad bricks, if we could identify how we laid those, if we stood back and looked at that whole brick wall and went, oh, okay, yep, those two bad bricks, but what about the other 998 bricks? What did I do really well? How did I lay those so well? What worked well? And then I'd make a note for what I could do next time to make sure that I would have a different result. You know what? Maybe I might still have two bad bricks, but would it really matter? And I think it's really important. Thanks, Angela. Great. I'm really pleased that you're loving this. Focus on what we can do. Absolutely. So often it's in looking at the other 998 bricks that we will find our best self. We just got to retrain ourselves to look at those 998 bricks and stop naturally looking at the two bad bricks. One, in my work as a coach, I'm lucky enough that I get to look at lots of different tools that do delve into understanding people. But one that I really love is the VIA character strengths. It's one thing I've used with people that I work with. It's a free online assessment and quite quick to do. And it gives you, as I've got here in front of me, you can get a quick summary based on your assessment of your strengths. Now, I say to everybody when they're doing any type of assessment, the result that you get will be a reflection of how you answered the questions in that one moment. So it's not set in concrete. So I don't look at my summary and go, okay, that's me for the rest of my life. At that particular moment, it's a reflection of who I actually am. So it gives you a summary of the whole 24 strengths. And I'm just going to share with you my top 3, which are perseverance, judgment, and kindness. Now, whenever I do any sort of assessment with anyone, I just love that people have this light globe that goes off in their head. They sort of go, wow, I hadn't thought of myself like that before. Okay, I'm really, I'm so pleased that I've learned that about myself. Years ago, I wouldn't actually, as I said to you at the start, I would naturally look at my 2 bad bricks and not at my 998 good bricks. And I know that people would have said that I'm very organised. I like to be on time. I'm very punctual. And back then I saw that as my 2 bad bricks. I'd be like, oh, that's a bad thing. I shouldn't be punctual. I shouldn't be organised, because I was taking it as a criticism that someone was saying to me. But actually, if I'd just taken off my glasses, which were only looking at the 2 bad bricks, I would have realised people were giving me feedback about my strengths. They were telling me that I was organised. They were telling me that I was punctual. And so for me, it was like, hey, yeah, I am. And that's actually a good thing. I'm actually really happy about that. So when I look at my top 3, as I said, which are perseverance, judgment, and kindness, if I'm looking at my brick wall and I see those 3 bricks, I can delve a little bit deeper and read the descriptions for those. Finishing what one starts, persevering in a course of action in spite of obstacles, getting it out the door, taking pleasure in completing tasks. And I read that and I'm pretty proud of that. I think that's pretty good reflection of who I am. Judgment, thinking things through and examining them from all sides, not jumping to conclusions, being able to change one's mind in light of evidence, weighing all evidence fairly. And again, I think, in the past, if I looked at the 2 bad bricks, I would have gone, oh, what a pain, Sharon needs to do that. She needs to look for the evidence. She needs to examine blah, blah. But it's actually a positive. It's actually a good brick. Kindness, doing favours and good deeds for others, helping them, taking care of them. I love that. Would I have said that was one of my good bricks? No, I wouldn't have naturally had said that. So for me to do this online assessment, for me to get this summary, and it's a snapshot, okay? Remember, I'm not suggesting that this is it for the rest of my life, but it gives me that feeling of, hey, look, I'm good at these things. These are my strengths. These are part of my 998 bricks. And sometimes that's where we're looking. We're looking for, how do I find my 998 bricks? How do I identify what they are? So that's just one tool that I thought I'd share with you. If we look at feedback, obviously another useful way of identifying your 998 good bricks is in the feedback that you get. And I know that feedback sometimes can get a bad rap because often we only ever hear about the negative feedback. That's what we take on board. That's what we carry around with us. But I want you to think about the good, the positive feedback that you get. What do others say about you that lets you know what they appreciate for you? Just think about that. Just sit for a minute. And again, feel free to send me some comments if you can. Sorry, I'm just catching up now. It's so great to see that you're sending me some messages. Yeah, it's so true that we look at what we consider to be our bad bricks and focus on them. Absolutely, Michelle. Yes. So what do others say about you that lets you know what they appreciate in you? Think about today. Think about things people have said, maybe comments people have made that you may not have seen as feedback, but now looking at it, can you start pulling out what those good bricks are? What feedback were they giving you? Was it, hey, look, thanks so much, Sharon. I really appreciate your help on that. Thanks so much, Sharon. I really appreciate the time you've taken to just listen to me at the moment. Have a think about things that people have said about you that indicates what they appreciate in you. Do they appreciate that you're always on time, that you're punctual? Do they appreciate that you're organised? Do they appreciate your sense of humour? What is it? What can you start to hear in comments or feedback? And if I'm talking about family and friends, it may not feel like feedback, but just think about what things people say to you that you can now pull out and go, actually, yeah, they are telling me about my good bricks. When we're looking at talking about feedback, one thing I really encourage people if in the workplace is to actually ask for feedback. We don't get enough feedback in the workplace. Yes, probably one of the most common things I hear about is the negative feedback people get. I'm talking about positive feedback. And I'm always encouraging leaders to give positive feedback. So not feedback that's, hey, thanks for coming today. I mean constructive, positive feedback that lets people know what they're doing well and what and obviously then encourages them to keep doing. So there's no reason why you can't ask for feedback. It actually shows that you want to know. You want to know what you're doing well. You want to know what your strengths are. You want to know what to keep doing. So think about who you might be able to ask for feedback. Could it be a trusted friend? Could it be a work colleague? Could it be your partner? Could it be a family member? Have a think about who you can ask for feedback. It could be even, hey, look, I was listening to this presentation. This lady was talking about feedback and what do others say about me that shows what they appreciate in me. I'm just wondering if you would mind sharing with me some things that you appreciate in me. There's no harm in doing that, okay? You might feel a little bit nervous about that, but just think about it. You're actually asking to get some information to help you around your 998 bricks so you can start seeing your whole self. I was listening to a podcast just recently and it was talking about feedback, and they were discussing on there about having a positive feedback file. So somewhere, whether it was, in paper form or whether it's saved on their computer, on their phone, somewhere they could access readily, where they would gather feedback they've received, whether it's from work colleagues, whether it's from customers, whoever it might be, but they file it away. So that sometimes those days where perhaps they are just seeing those bad bricks, they can go, no, hang on a minute, I'm just going to go to my file and have a read through some of those positive feedback points that I've kept, those references that I've kept. And they read them and they go, yeah, that's right. I am that, and I am that, and I am proud of that. And it just sort of jolts them to stop looking automatically at those two bad bricks. So if you can, you may already have done that. If you can, start a positive feedback file. The next point I want to talk about is gratitude. And I know across Happiness Aid, across Happiness Co, you are well aware of the benefits of a good gratitude practice. So I'm not going to harp on about that. But what I am going to talk about is using gratitude to identify our positive, our good bricks. When you stop and can identify what you're grateful for, it can help you retrain your brain to take a different pathway, and look at the positives or the good bricks. Let me give you a couple of examples. For example, I'm grateful for the opportunity to move my body and to exercise. When I see that as a strength. I see that it's a strength that I can move my body and exercise. And then it takes me down that path of, actually, I'm good at self-discipline. I'm good at getting myself up, getting myself motivated, getting myself to exercise. I'm good at listening to my body. I know when my body is telling me, hey, Sharon, something's not right. I'm good at motivating myself. Okay, so when I start to identify what I'm grateful for, it helps me unlock some of those strengths, some of those positives, some of those good bricks within me. Another example is I'm extremely grateful for the work I do. I love the work I do. I then start to see some strengths in this. I'm good at supporting people. I'm good at listening to people. I'm good at helping people reach their potential. So again, for me to start identifying what I'm grateful for helps me to start identifying my strengths and those good bricks. Okay. So success. One of the last areas that I wanted to talk about tonight, success. Success, how do you define success? What I think is success is going to be completely different to what you think is success. That's okay. It's a big question. And it's going to be completely different for all of us. I seem to have lost my comments again. So I'm so sorry if you're messaging me or sending me comments. Again, I will follow through and look into them afterwards. Success could be about something that you gain. It could be about something that you have. It could be about something that you feel, or it could be even something that you give. Success can mean completely different things for everybody. Okay. If one of the best ways to help identify success is what we're aiming to achieve overall in life, you know, if we're talking about our vision or our purpose in life. Often I talk to people about their success thermostat. So imagine the oven. Now, I don't know, whenever I share this analogy, people go, oh, maybe that's why I'm burning things. But if you're cooking in your oven, you don't actually set the thermostat, the temperature gauge, at the same level for everything you cook. You might need to turn it up higher to cook something, and something else that you're cooking, you'll need to turn the temperature gauge down. You need to adjust that temperature gauge. And our success thermostat needs to be exactly the same way. And the reason I say that is if we turn our success thermostat up too high, we could be setting ourselves up for disappointment because we've set the bar, we've set that thermostat so high, that it's going to be really challenging to meet it. Sometimes we put our success thermostat so low that it's actually not stretching us, it's not motivating us. And so it's almost like, oh, success is easy, I'll achieve that, no worries. So having an understanding of your success thermostat and realizing that you're able to control that, you're able to set the temperature gauge, is really, really powerful and really, really important. If we think about the two bad bricks story, he said he had to learn how to build. He had to learn how to prepare the foundations. He had to learn how to lay the concrete and the bricks. He had to learn how to erect the roof and put in the plumbing. He had to learn how to do all of it. Now, in acknowledging that from the start, perhaps his success thermostat should have been turned down a little bit lower because it was really going to be a challenge for him. He really understood that he needed to learn some different things. And because maybe he had his success thermostat up too high, that's why when he finished and he looked back and went, oh my God, my two bad bricks, he set himself up for some failure there. Just in that analogy, if he turned the thermostat down and acknowledged to himself and went, hang on a minute, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to learn all of this. And this is the first time I've ever done it. So success for me will be the fact that I even get this wall up. Then I think, that has a completely different outcome for us. So one thing I mentioned at the start, and again, I'm not sure who's still listening to me, but I really encourage you to go back to watch the start of this presentation because it links with the two bad brick story that I read to you at the start. And I also shared with you at the start how my need for perfection is often one of my biggest challenges in looking at my two bad bricks. And so I need to let go of everything being perfect. And to be honest, I feel that I've done that really well probably in the last 10 years. And I'll tell you honestly how that's occurred. And it's occurred because of my daughter, because I could tell that I was transferring my need for perfection onto her. And she was starting to have perfection paralysis, meaning she wasn't doing anything because she was so scared that unless it was perfect, she didn't want to do it. I couldn't see that in myself, but it was only as she was growing up that I was starting to identify it. And it came through in her schoolwork. She would struggle to make a start on schoolwork. And that's when I soon worked out, what it was about, because she didn't want to start something unless it could be perfect. And of course, being a parent, knowing that I'm a role model, I had to sort of start looking around, and I worked out that, hang on a minute, that was exactly me. So I've actually banned the use of the word perfect in my house. Perfect can actually stop us from taking action. Okay. Things can be excellent. Something can be fantastic. Something can be awesome, which is completely different to something being perfect. So I think especially now in the situation with the COVID-19, when things are a little bit uncertain and we're lacking some clarity, I think letting go of perfect is even more important right now. So if you're thinking about what success means for you, I really encourage you to think about that success thermostat, because it will really get you thinking about, okay, hang on, am I setting myself up for failure here because I've turned that thermostat so high on what I'm aiming to achieve or what I'm aiming to achieve as success? Or have I turned my thermostat down too low that I'm just, making it too easy for myself? And I've become a bit blasé about the effort that I put in to what I want to be successful with. So now I want to wrap my presentation up now. And I guess this isn't going to go as planned, because what I really wanted to do was hear from everyone about their good bricks. I wanted to say to you, how's your brick wall looking? With your big eyes, how's your brick wall looking? How is your whole self looking? So again, I can't keep this on. Hey, Matt, so good to see you there. So good to see you. So with fresh eyes, what are you starting to see as your good bricks? I really wanted people to be able to put in their comment section, what your good bricks are. Start telling me, start identifying them for yourself. What are your good bricks? You know, not naturally looking at your bad bricks. What are your good bricks? I've talked to you tonight about self-talk. I've talked to you tonight about feedback, about being strengths focused, about gratitude, and about success. And I think they're all areas that can help us identify what our good bricks are. So literally, imagine a brick wall. Yes, potentially there's 2 bad bricks, but that's okay, because I want you to identify your 998 good bricks. For me, some of those good bricks are self-discipline, a sense of humour, I'm determined, I'm committed, I persevere. Remember, I said that from my assessment that I did. I'm courageous, I'm curious, I've got a healthy body, my awareness and focus. Thanks so much, Matt. That's great. Awareness and focus. If you can, anyone else that's watching, please put in the comments section what your good bricks are. I'd love to see them. And again, I'll follow this up. I'll have a look through the comments after the presentation. Michelle, my good bricks are my passion for supporting my teams and dedication. Fantastic, fantastic. So keep thinking, keep working on identifying your good bricks. Keep imagining that brick wall and going, I'm not going to concentrate onto my 2 bad bricks, because there are only 2 bad bricks. I'm going to keep focused on my 998 good bricks. So for me, I often catch myself going, no, Sharon, look at the other bricks. Yep, sure, there could be 2 bad bricks there, but look at the other bricks. And I'm using my self-talk in a much more positive way to identify and to see my strengths, my good bricks. So I'd really love to know how you might be able to use this 2 bad brick story and what I've shared with you in terms of my learnings around the good bricks. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. It's been a little bit weird because I've been a little unsure who's been there to listen and to hear your comments. But once again, please, yes, definitely, Michelle, thank you. What a great practice to focus on the good bricks. So empowering. Absolutely it is. Absolutely. So I encourage everyone to use this story, to keep it in mind. Just keep telling yourself, 998 good bricks. What are my good bricks? Write them down. Keep them on your phone. Write them. If you're creative, draw your own brick wall and start writing them on that brick wall. Identify your good bricks and keep it really in a place that you can look at frequently. Okay, I do think it's really quite powerful. Thank you so much again for having me. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you so much to Happiness Aid for having me present again. I really, really appreciate it. Please, everyone, continue to stay well, keep safe, and keep building your brick wall of good bricks. Bye now. Thanks, everyone.